A single aircraft, one heavy bomb, 30,000 kilograms of pressure and steel. High above the front line, a Russian Su-34 releases a FAB-3000. Not just a strike, a signal. In modern warfare, air power is no longer constant. It is calculated, risk assessed, windows measured in minutes. So when a heavy bomb like the FAB-3000 is deployed over Ukraine, the question is not only where it lands, but why now? What changed in the airspace? What changed on the ground? What does this tell us about battlefield tempo? This is not about spectacle. It is about capability, strategy, escalation thresholds. Tonight, we break down what the Su-34 platform represents, why the FAB-3000 matters, and how heavy air power reshapes the frontline equation. This is Battlefield Analysis. The Su-34 is not a fighter in the traditional sense. It is a strike aircraft, built for payload, built for range, built for contested environments, twin engines, armored cockpit, side-by-side crew configuration, designed for long-duration missions and complex strike coordination. Its purpose is simple: deliver heavy ordnance with precision planning. Now enter the FAB-3000, a Soviet-era heavy bomb, roughly 3 metric tons, designed for hardened targets, fortified positions, deep defensive structures. In older doctrines, bombs like this were used sparingly, logistically heavy, operationally risky. But modern adaptation changes the equation. With glide kits and modified guidance systems reported on some variants, traditional dumb bombs become standoff weapons, allowing aircraft to release from safer distances. This reduces exposure to air defenses, extends reach, alters strike geometry. So the key question becomes, was this deployment about destruction or deterrence? Because heavy bombs are rarely tactical tools alone. They are psychological instruments. They communicate weight, escalation capacity, willingness to apply air power at scale. And in Ukraine's layered air defense environment, any large-scale aerial deployment signals calculated confidence, at least within a defined corridor. But air power never exists in isolation. It interacts with ground maneuver, artillery tempo, drone reconnaissance, electronic warfare saturation. If heavy bombs appear, it often means something is being shaped on the ground. The air prepares, the ground exploits, or attempts to. The battlefield is not static, it is layered. And when a Su-34 releases a FAB-3000, it is rarely just about one target. It is about shaping the operational picture. Heavy bombs are not routine tools. They are used when something must change. On a battlefield saturated with drones, artillery duels, and trench systems, progress is measured in meters, not kilometers. Defensive belts are layered, reinforced, monitored from the air. So when a FAB-3000 enters the equation, it suggests an attempt to disrupt that balance. Not gradual pressure, shock pressure. The objective is rarely symbolic. It is structural, hardened positions, logistics nodes, underground shelters, command coordination points. Large munitions are designed to collapse certainty, not just infrastructure. But here is the critical layer. Air deployment at this scale requires calculated airspace management. Ukraine's air defense network remains active, mobile, adaptive, which means any heavy strike implies one of 3 dynamics: a temporary air defense gap, electronic warfare suppression, or a controlled standoff release outside engagement range. Each scenario carries implications. If suppression was required, electronic intensity is rising. If standoff release was used, glide modification capability is expanding. If a gap was exploited, frontline air defense distribution is under strain. None of these are small signals. And then there is tempo. Heavy air power often precedes ground maneuver, not always immediate, not always visible, but coordinated. Air shapes terrain, ground tests weakness. If pressure follows on the same axis within days, this was preparation. If not, this was messaging. Modern war is layered signaling. Every deployment says something beyond its blast radius. The Su-34 does not carry a FAB-3000 casually. It carries it when planners believe the moment justifies the wait. And that is where the real analysis begins. Heavy bombs change terrain, but they do not guarantee momentum. A single FAB-3000 can collapse structures, disrupt fortified zones, force temporary repositioning. Yet modern front lines are elastic, positions shift, reserves rotate, drones rescan, artillery recalibrates. So the true impact is measured not in the explosion, but in what follows. Does ground pressure increase? Does air activity intensify? Does defense reposition deeper? If follow-up action appears, this was shaping. If the front line stabilizes, this was signaling. In today's battlefield, escalation is rarely sudden. It is incremental, tested, measured. The deployment of heavy air power is not the conclusion. It is a data point. And in Ukraine's contested airspace, every data point matters. Air power speaks, but the battlefield answers. The deployment of a Su-34 with a FAB-3000 is not just about weight. It is about timing, coordination, signal. In modern warfare, every strike is part of a larger equation: pressure, response, adaptation. The front line does not move because of one explosion. It moves because of sustained dynamics, and that is what we continue to watch. This is not about noise, it is about patterns. Stay analytical, stay critical, stay informed. This is TRX Update.